afternoon and welcome to Boston. Love Boston. So, how many of you looked over that agenda and saw, wow, gerontologist is speaking, got to be there, great for my business? Anybody? What is a gerontologist and what does it have to do with us and our business? Well, I'll tell you what, folks, it has a lot to do with your business. Anybody met a gerontologist before? Just for kicks and giggles? Nobody? Okay, so this is a first for all of you. You can wipe that off your bucket list. You know, and a lot of people don't even know what a gerontologist is. I always tell people if I showed you a bottle of Geritol, would that help you go in the right direction? Gerontology is the study of aging. It is not the study of old age. I believe there's a difference between growing older and getting old. And I think that's a really powerful message that we're seeing more and more in the country today. I will tell you this, though. It's not unusual if you've never met a gerontologist before. There are not very many of us around. But how many of you really see that we're in the same line of work? Yep, so I see some heads nodding there. You know, you do it from a different perspective than I do, of course, but we have the privilege and pleasure to help people make the right choices in their lives. And I think we have some wonderful opportunities in front of us, but we also have some huge challenges in front of us in getting them to think differently about this phase of life, to understand the importance of planning for this phase of their life. And that is really what I hope to help you with today, is kind of get into their brains a little bit, think differently about this process, what we're doing, what we're seeing in retirement, what's coming, and how much fun we're going to be able to have. And really, I think for you guys, this is an extraordinary opportunity. This whole wave of interest in retirement planning is coming right into your ballpark. And these people know that they're not ready. And we have the solutions. You just need to talk to them. You need to educate them. They need to understand we don't have this in the school system, so they don't even really know what they don't know. But let me start off by telling you a little bit about how I got to be a gerontologist. I'll tell you, I had no idea I was going to be a gerontologist when I grew up. I went to USC on a golf scholarship, actually, and came out a gerontologist. Anybody see the connection there? Golf and gerontology. My parents were initially quite baffled, actually. They said, what happened? We sent you in a golfer, you came out a gerontologist. Did you get in the wrong G-line or something? Which, you know, can happen to those of us recruited as athletes, right? But there's definitely a correlation between golf and gerontology and what I'll be talking about this afternoon, and that is this. Although I competed with kids my own age, who did I spend most of the time with on the golf course? Retirees, older adults, right. So at a very early age, subconsciously, not really even aware of what was going on at the time, I started looking at aging with a totally different vibe. I saw healthy, active, working, traveling, volunteering. The interesting thing was I got into the academic side of aging. Now, this is the top school in the nation for the field of gerontological study, a university with hundreds, if not thousands, of graduates in other disciplines. There were 5 people in my graduating class, people. That's probably why you've never met a gerontologist before. And even with the coming demographics, you know, we still don't see that many people going into the field. And I think that's one of our challenges. Why more people aren't going into this field is one of the same challenges you have every day out there, getting people to think about planning for this phase in their life. Most people don't look forward to getting older. Why might that be? Because the majority of studies on aging, this kind of blew me away, the majority of studies on aging in this country, just up until the last maybe 15 or 20 years or so ago, were all done in nursing homes. I mean, that's a convenient place to study aging, right? But the only place to study aging? And so as a result, then, have we as a society been conditioned to believe that age is a time of decline? Do people age because they expect to age? So these are some of the challenges we have that we need to help people start thinking differently about. And I think, like I said, we have some wonderful opportunities, particularly with the current data that's available, and without question, in your line of work, the explosion of new products that have been designed specifically for this longevity and for the way people are living very differently in retirement than they've ever lived before. So what tools we used then maybe aren't appropriate anymore. But now we have some new tools. And, you know, I have to tell you, as a gerontologist, I have the delightful pleasure of traveling around and meeting a lot of older people along my way, and they really make an impact on me, and I'm going to share some of the stories with you today. This is one of my favorite friends. His name is Ernest Pusey. I met him a couple of years ago in Florida. He blew my mind because he was the oldest person in the state of Florida, which is rather extraordinary because he's a male. 3rd in the United States, 5th in the world. He's 111. But you know, it's interesting. When you meet people like Ernest Pusey, everybody wants to know what's the secret of living that long. Well, one of the things that we're learning in gerontology right now is there's not just one thing, there are a number of things that contribute to living long and certainly contribute to living a happy quality of life, which is generally the most important thing to people. They don't really care how long they live, as long as they can live well and be happy and enjoy their quality of life. But you know, it's interesting, as you start looking at some of these types of things, the tools that we use, I do see a similarity there in golf and in financial planning as well. As a golfer, I have a lot of sticks in my bag when I go around. I may not use every stick on every round, but I like to know what's in my bag. From a financial planning standpoint, I think we also have to help clients recognize there are a lot of different tools they need in their bag. They may not use all of them, But now we're starting to see tools designed specifically for certain expenditures in retirement, like healthcare. And these are some things we're going to talk about. This is something we've never seen before. So in many respects, I think that we talk about this industry being financial advisors. I do think it's becoming life planning, really, more than anything. Because it's not just the financial, it's the lifestyle. And in order to help people understand why they need the financial tools, you need to understand the life journey. So I can't talk as a gerontologist about retirement planning without talking about financial planning. And in many ways, I don't think you can talk about financial planning and retirement planning without talking about longevity and gerontology. So in many ways, I think that a lot of you have to be exposed to this message. So I'm very thankful for being here and being able to give you the opportunity to think about maybe selling points in maybe a different way. But when you talk about Ernest Pusey, for example, what are his secrets? Well, as a gerontologist, he did everything we know about in the field of gerontology, which is the best way of living your life. Pretty much the same way he'd been all of his life, never smoked, drank moderately, friends of all different ages, physically, mentally, spiritually, socially engaged. That's life, really, when you think about it. And when I asked him, Ernest, I said, what's the most extraordinary thing you've experienced in 111 years? He had a lot of things to choose from. Without hesitation, he said, the fact that I'm still here. I couldn't believe he was still alive at 111. And I guarantee you GM wasn't excited about it either because they were still paying his pension at 111. So again, though, this is kind of an interesting phenomenon that we have occurring here, and it's happening all around us. But we're not really plugged into the specifics and how it affects our business. But I will tell you this. There's not one study out there on successful aging, successful retirement that doesn't talk about financial planning. It's a critical part of the game. We understand here. We don't know exactly how much money our clients are going to need. We're getting some ballpark figures, though, but I'll tell you what, there's a complete disconnect out there as to how much money they're going to need. Do you know this? I mean, the average American out there thinks that they can retire on $250,000. My advisors say a year. No, total. Well, let me let them in on a little surprise. The estimated healthcare costs alone for a boomer at 65 to reach to their 90s is $250,000. Just healthcare costs. People don't know this. And the other big concern we all need to have is the majority of Americans underestimate how long they're going to live. That could be a problem when you're planning your finances based upon a number that's less than what you're going to actually live. So these are some of the things we have to kind of think differently about. My concern is that I think the average American is taking a crapshoot at their retirement. People today spend more time planning a 2-week vacation than they do 1/3 of their life, which is the average amount of time Americans are going to be spending in retirement, 30 years. What is one of the number one fears in America today? Outliving their money. That's exactly right. So we have solutions. We have to educate them about